Welcome to 4T's Media. My name is Kaide Bentley, and I'm president and founder of the youth development organization 4T's Teaching Teens to Think, whose mission is to help inner city youth identify their inherent skill set, meaning what they do naturally, in order for them to complete their education, establish a career, and ultimately start a business if they choose to. Today, I want to share with you give a spotlight. I'll share with you and put a spotlight on the youth demographic as it exists today. I am going to try and be brief, but at the same time, thorough. I started my organization, not going too far back, over 20 years ago. And it was at the age of 22 as a matter of fact. And what I noticed was, at the time, the fad, the trend, as it were, was baggy pants, you know, the baggy sweat. It was the football jerseys that was 3 times extra large, that whole thing. And I noticed that trend. Fashion is fashion, the trend is a trend, that's no problem. But it didn't seem balanced to me. All right, so I'm not going to go into depth too much, but I just want to give some insight. So anyway, 4T started because basically, in essence, I wanted to show the professionalism of inner city youth. That's the long and short of it. That's the long and short of it. I'm compelled to share this or give a spotlight on inner city youth today in comparison to 20 years ago, because to a large extent, not too much has changed. With the exception of the fact that instead of oversized apparel, they're more like shrunken apparel now. Skinny jeans, as they call it. That seems to is the new fad or fade that exists today. So, but what kind of bears on disturbing to a degree, and it has existed for a long time, but it wasn't popularized, was the baggy jeans hanging off, you know, the waist and barely down to the knees, okay? Why am I saying all this? Well, when I started my organization with the mission of doing a so-called, I was supposed to be an apparel showcase or a quote-unquote fashion show, and it is designed to highlight the professionalism of inner city youth. Professionalism in apparel, such as dress. And when I say, let me be careful how I say that. Dress with regards to women, and suits, slacks, ties, shirts, of course, blazers, shoes, in accordance to men, young men. So that was the concept of 4T's and still is to today. So why am I? What am I here for? What am I sharing this for? So I'm basically, what I want to share is a spotlight on youth today, and to an extent how a lot of things hasn't changed. So you're going to see a short clip, a short video clip of an informal discussion, so to speak, interview that I had with one of the teens that I mentor. And in the process of mentoring and just guiding, so to speak. And what you'll notice is, and what you've seen develop over the years as a part of inner city youth, particularly young men, weakness is a lack of focus, especially with technology today. You have the iPhones, the iPads, the tablets, you know, and it doesn't just affect inner city youth. You have a lot of adults who are glued to their tablets and iPhones as well. And it's particularly concerning when it deals with our young people today. Some people think, oh, you got plenty of time to figure out what you want to do, don't worry about it. And then before they know it, 20 years go by, and what do they have to show for their life? Besides a menial job, if that, if not incarcerated, or if not 6 feet under. And that stems from a lack of focus, because these young men and young women, the youth demographic, particularly of the inner city, have not been given the structured guidance needed in order to help them focus on their future. So you'll see a lack of focus in this interview to a degree. You'll also see impatience, right? Uncomfortability. You know, and that could just be because, you know, filming and on camera and things of that nature. Yeah, that's possible. But I think it's important that we, and I don't mean to be all boring and so stoic and so slow in my speech, but it's because I want to make sure that I'm understood clearly and that my words are not lost. So bear with me as I go through this, okay? I'll have subsequent interviews with other teens that I mentor as well. But this is a contrast, right? Comparison that I'm doing now. So impatience, you'll notice that in this interview, the young man is impatient. And that also can result in a detrimental outcome or result in one person's life. All things come to those who wait is a cliche that we use out here. And especially in today's society with technology today, where everything is given so quick. You have access to everything so quick. And in it being so quick, the detriment to that is there's no training in moderation, and there's no training in being patient. And that's what a lot of these young kids, the trap a lot of these youth fall into, particularly as it relates to earning a living. Right? You see it glaring in your face in media, entertainment, rap music, sport athletes, things of that nature, where they're so quick to get the bag or chase the bag. There's nothing wrong with that. You want to live comfortably. But in that chasing the bag, you don't think about what you're sacrificing in order to attain that monetary revenue, I guess, right? And particularly in contracts. So again, I don't want to be too long-winded. I don't want to be too stoic, but I'm just trying to paint a clear picture for what you're about to see. So the picture isn't entirely bleak. There's a silver lining to it. There's hope. There's opportunity. And these are all things that my organization offers in terms of services and programs, in terms of its partnerships, in order to identify these weaknesses, in order to help the youth turn them into strengths. So the weaknesses that I brought up were lack of focus and impatience, but here's some of the strengths that you'll probably notice as well. And you probably wouldn't because this is a short interview, but in my time with this individual, this young individual has shown that they follow instruction. They may be impatient and they may lack focus, but when instructions are given clearly and repeatedly, not over and over and over again, but, you know, one time or two more times, just to make sure the definitions are in alignment and everyone's on the same page, this young individual follows them very well. And in fact, this young individual stood out recently this year with regards to technology today and participating in some sort of program activities. This person, attendance was very good and was consistent, right? This is the same young individual that lacked focus and impatient, but despite all that, was able to follow instructions and show dedication and commitment to a program that they were in. This person also, that I've noticed over the years, wants to improve in their education, and thanks to their parental guidance and the support that the parents get from other resources, as it were, me included, serving as a mentor in some capacity, have been able to inspire this young man or continue this young man or help this young person stay on the track as it relates to their education. So I'm happy about that. So in this clip that you're about to see, that I want to share with you to give you some insight on the youth today, and it's just a microcosm. This isn't all youth, but particular demographics. This is gives you an idea on the demographic that exists. So we talked about in this informal discussion / interview the youth summer program. And it wasn't that engaging, to be honest. This particular youth wasn't that engaged, and, you know, pretty much I don't think came away from the experience with a lot. The experience in and of itself was great, right? The exposure to a different atmosphere, that will never leave. The work ethic or exposure to the type of work ethic required in that environment will stay with this individual subconsciously, that I believe this young man will draw from in the future. It just didn't have an immediate impact, and I think that's another thing youth development educators, or those educators who deal with youth directly, need to keep in mind. That is not the development of youth from their plight that they are today is not going to change overnight. It's going to take time. And right now, it's the exposure that you give them that will have an impact on them. And I say that for a reason. So that's we talked about the youth summer program, and, you know, check it out. This is Mr. K. I take the opportunity sometimes to interview the teens here, the ones that stand out or who have improved. There's a young man who's come to the teen center and who has grown a lot. So this is a very informal interview. The big question is what is his 5-year, in this case, probably 10-year plan? How are you?
I'm doing good. Mr. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
You know, I just got out of school, you know. Yeah, I'm doing good. You know, no school tomorrow too, you know, Jewish holiday, you know.
What do you plan on doing on your day off tomorrow?
I gotta read my book, so yeah, you know.
What book?
Things Fall Apart. Things Fall Apart, my fault.
Things Fall Apart?
Yeah.
What do you know about the book already? What made you pick that book?
I didn't pick it. No, it's a reading book that we have to read.
Oh, it's assigned.
Yeah, for school. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And we got a quiz on it on Friday, so yeah, that's why I got to read it.
So did you read the cover and you found out like what the premise of the book is about? And stuff?
Yes.
All right. So what does the cover say? What's the premise of the book?
It's about like, Native Americans, right? It's about like what their relationship is and like what their relationship is.
Glad you said that. I also want to mention and let the other people know how proud I am of you, and I'm sure all of us here are you, with regards to the job that you had this summer. How was that?
What job?
You had a summer job.
I did. I played, but yeah. You mean summer youth?
Summer youth. How
Summer
was that
youth.
experience? What did you learn? Or what one thing? Not everything. Just one thing that stood out over the summer, or that experience itself that you learned.
It was like, okay, so look, we had this different activities, right? Different activities. It was rap, gym, step, dance, gardening.
Oh wow, gardening. Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Really. So your work entailed participating in those activities, or did it entail some like administrative work, such as filing papers, writing reports, or something? Or
The first one.
So as you see, it really, the experience didn't resonate with this young man that much. But the exposure, subconsciously, I believe, had an impact on him, will have an impact on him going forward in the future. That expose these young people to that environment where they can gain some tangible knowledge and really prepare for their future in terms of career direction. But nonetheless, it was an experience, and I'm glad that this young person had it. The next topic we talk about is the breakdown on college degrees. And this is very instrumental because in my partnership with the various youth development programs I'm in partnership with, there are people that inspire me, in fact. And one of them you'll see in this next part, where we were able to, and you'll start to notice this, some of it starts to resonate with this young individual. But that's part of a standard script, right? So when you're in high school, these young people in high school, they're given the standard script of, go to school, get a good education, you can get a good job. And now we see that that's not necessarily a guarantee. You don't stand a chance without a good education, and I'm not saying I'm against education. I'm not saying that at all. But I am against young people enrolling in school thinking that just enrolling in school and getting that piece of paper is going to guarantee them something. I teach through my organization strategy, whereas young people, before they enroll in any institution, that they consider, before they consider a four-year institution, because there's certain costs involved that they may not be able to afford. Unfortunately, coming from the inner city, it doesn't allow them that due to the financial constraints in that type of environment. So I also try and emphasize trade schools, hence inherent skill set, what they do naturally, where it's hands-on application. Trade schools being a certain trade, carpentry, electrician, things of that nature. And if, we're in tune with the current events that's going on today, there seems to be now more focus in bringing that type of education back that existed in the 40s, the 50s, and to an extent some of the 60s. So I tried through my organization, 4Ts, trying to instill in these young people alternatives to the standard or typical education route, which is the four-year college. Consider trade school, consider community college, 2 years. Get yourself acclimated to what's going on. A big challenge and alternative to that is taking a year off after high school to really see what the workforce is like. That's tricky because sometimes the youth get that job and they get that money and they don't end up ever going back to college until way late. That's a delicate route, But nonetheless, it should always be considered as an option depending on the type of individual. So what I was impressed by is the opportunity to share with this individual the type of college degrees that exist and bring this to their attention. And in this same segment that you're going to see, we also talked about the importance of a 5-year plan. This young man was in his second year of high school, about to embark on his third year, meaning he was in his sophomore year in high school, and about to embark on his junior year in high school. And we were able to touch briefly on the topic of the 5-year plan and how 2 of the years within that 5-year plan included him completing his high school education, completing high school, and then the remaining 3 years will include him getting into college or enrolling into college, and not just being into college and enrolling into college, but what to do when you enroll in college. And I was touched in his response and sharing, and he really has an interest in it. He's struggling, right? We're just gonna keep it real, he's struggling, but at least he has an idea of what he wants to do, and that's not to say that might not change, and it's in the area of the entertainment industry, but this also goes to show how much of an impact entertainers have on youth, right? Young people, as well as adults. You have a lot of, and I don't want to get too far off on the tangent, we have a lot of sports athletes and some actors and actresses in the entertainment field saying, I'm not your child's role model. That's not my job, that's the parent's job. And although to an extent that is true, their role does have an impact on the masses, in particular inner city youth. And I think there should be some consideration paid to that as an actor, actress, and an athlete, that these are your fans to a degree. They support you, they're inspired by you. I don't think they support you and they're inspired by you. And I don't think it's a bad thing to try and encourage them to lead by example or share with them some of the mistakes that you made to some degree, because they do look up to you. You know, these young people do look up to them. So I'm honored that we had a chance in this next segment that you're going to hear talk about college degrees and talk about 5-year plans. And this is an ongoing conversation that we have, that we talk about. So check it out.
Final big question. This is the big question I ask all you. This is the part of the whole, Mr. K really helping your think session. So the question is, what grade are you in right now?
10th.
Wow, so that means you got 11th and 12th. And then you graduate high school and then you'll be in college.
Yes.
All right, so my big...
What am I going to do in 5 years? Oh,
hey,
let me tell you.
Good job. So the official question is...
Yeah, let me tell you what I'm doing, in 4
what's your
or 5 years.
plan?
Yeah, my 5 years plan? Go to college.
Plan. 4, 5
Yeah,
years.
I said plan.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure it was heard and articulated. Plan.
So look, my 5-year plan, right? I want to go to college, right? I want to go to college, for 4 years, 6 years maybe, get my master's degrees, other degrees, more other degrees, and degrees.
Can you specify those other degrees? What's the first degree, that you typically get?
Master's, yeah.
Bachelor's.
Yeah, I said bachelor's. I didn't say master's, I said bachelor's.
And how long does it take to get a how many years does it take to get a bachelor's degree?
Like 2 years, right?
That's an associate's.
1 year, right?
All right, so an associate's.
1 year, yeah, 1 year.
Associate's takes 2 years.
I said 2 years,
And
Mr.
the
K.
bachelor's takes 4. But if you get your associate's and you pick the right school and the credits transfer, then it'll just take you another 2 years to get your bachelor's. Got it?
I knew that.
All right, and then master's is another 2 years to that, so that's a total of 6.
Yeah, I knew that too.
And if you went to get your doctorate, that's another 2 years on it, so a total of like 8 years.
Yeah, we have that Ernest and thing, right? We were talking about college, right? Yeah, exactly.
Tell me about that. So what did you learn in the Ernest?
I was just about to say, you see, I'm that's why I'm going to the event so I can learn about that.
Nice, very good. That's the earnest.
Oh, yeah, the first time. All we did for the first time was just sign papers and stuff.
Well, you're earning it, right? And that's what life is about. You got to earn it.
Yeah, got it.
Okay, cool.
By the way, I cracked my tooth by playing around too much.
You cracked your tooth by what?
Playing around too much.
Okay.
But we ain't gonna talk about that.
So what have you learned?
We're not gonna talk about that.
We're not talking about it? All right,
Yeah,
we're not talking about it.
that.
All right, so that's good. So
That's it, right?
this is your 5-year plan. We're gonna end it. We're gonna end it.
I said, man, I'm going to get my degrees.
Right, your degrees.
I'm gonna go to
we
college.
broke down the degrees.
And
remember we broke down the
after
degrees?
college, right? I want to be an actor. I'm chasing my dreams. I want to be the next Will Smith.
You want to be the next Will Smith?
Yeah.
You know how long it took for Will Smith to get to where he's at now today, and you know you started off.
That's
as
why
a
I'm gonna
rapper,
work
right?
hard.
Okay. Okay. So let me understand. Give us a little insight on what your work ethic will be in that area. Like when you say you're going to work hard, what do you mean by that?
Listen to teachers.
Nice.
Homework.
Very good. What about the homework?
Be respectful.
Okay.
Learn how to read more, my vocabulary.
Good.
Get that.
Very good.
We're getting there, we're getting there. I'm getting there. Forties is getting there, but it takes time. Nothing happens overnight. Now, in this final segment that I'm gonna share, it was very interesting. Whereas we talked about social media and game consoles, and we talked about social media and game consoles in terms of learning tools. Where before we got interrupted, it was one of these impromptu discussions / interviews that we had. It was just a prompt that I wanted to capitalize on with this young individual, just to, shake them up a bit, get them thinking outside. All right, school is over, granted, no more education is over, granted, but, you still got work to do, all right? You still got to prepare. You still got to, stay focused. You're about to graduate high school, you're about to go into college, so, I took the opportunity to do this informal discussion / interview with him. And this topic came up with regards to social media and game consoles, where we really didn't get into it too much, but it was good to hear this young man talk about how, or thinking along the lines that YouTube is not just for entertainment, you can also use YouTube to learn from. Right? They're very educational clips and things on YouTube. Educational clips and things on YouTube that you can learn from, and not just YouTube, but game consoles as well. They have, game consoles now have access to cable and things of that nature. Where, it's all a matter of how you use the device. It's marketed as an entertainment tool, but can also be used as an educational tool as well. Check it out.
Play the game more. Okay. Watch YouTube
Play
more.
The game more and watch YouTube.
Yeah, watch
more.
YouTube. Cause look, if you think about it, if you think about it, right? If you think about it, right?
Yeah.
If you play the game, right, you can learn a lot of new things from the game.
Really?
And if you watch YouTube, like you don't always gotta watch entertaining stuff on YouTube. You can watch math stuff and reading stuff. So yeah, that's what I meant. And then games, you can play some learning games. But learning games was not what I was gonna play. I was gonna play some other. I'm playing. But yeah, exactly. That's my bad. I should have specified myself.
Thank you. Alright, so
the vocabulary is good. All right, go ahead.
Very good. So finally, we're gonna close this out. Thank you so much for taking your time out to participate in this interview.
Yeah.
So, all right, I'm gonna specify the 5-year plan. So you're in your sophomore year right now.
Sophomore year, yep.
Right. So you have
10th
2 more
grade.
years.
Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right. After them 5 years, right? You're done with elementary school, right? And then 6, 7, 8. After you're done with 6, 7, 8, you're done with middle school. Now we in high school, 9, 10.
9, 10, 11, 12.
Well, basically, I'm in 10th. That's why I stopped there.
Oh, okay. So, in your 5-year plan, 2 of those years are going to be spent in high school.
Huh? What? Say that again. I'm sorry, I wasn't listening.
2 out of the 5 years is going to be spent you completing high school.
Yes, it is.
Right, so it's going to be
2
junior year,
2 years, yes, it is.
and then senior year. All right, so after you graduate high school, you're going to have 3 more years left.
Yes, I am.
So 3 of those years is going to include college. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
All right, so just give other viewers some insight on how a game plan can work as we finish this interview.
Okay.
So when you're in college, what are some of the resources or tools you can take advantage of before you graduate high school, before you graduate college, to get you on the path towards getting a job or establishing a career? What are some of the things you should be doing in college in that 5-year plan of yours, which is the remaining 3 years?
Yeah, like I said, like, right? So, right, I want to be an actor, right? So, for me to, continue that acting career, what I want to do is find something to do in college that, helps me, in the future, basically. Like a program, after school program I could do.
Very good, very good. Let Mr. K suggest some other things for you as well.
Yes.
So while you're in college, look for what's called internships at companies. And it could be a filming company.
Yeah, that's what I
Right?
Way, I don't want to embarrass myself.
No, that's fine.
Like I already did, like the last 3 minutes.
But that's what this is. This is practice, right?
Yeah.
And this is helping others as well as helping yourself.
Yeah.
So while you're in college, you look for an internship or possibly a volunteer role, right? No, seriously, at a filming company or some company that relates to acting, right? So that way when you graduate, you have already established your reputation. So that way you have an advantage over your peers who probably just stayed in school. Keep that in mind in regards to your 5-year plan, and I'll come back to you to see how you're making progress on your
I want to restart
5-year plan.
Okay.
All right, so we'll restart. This is Mr.
Man
Mike.
right here. It's the man right here. It's the man right here.
My hair.
All right, that was Mr. Mike, y'all. You got a director of the project, a graduate director of the club. Cool guy. What do you think of Mr. Mike?
I beat him in basketball.
Okay, outside of the sports and activities, has he been very instrumental in helping you in regards to thinking about your future education-wise?
He's cool. He's doing that Ernest and Young thing, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Guys, look, if y'all need help with college, come to the Boys and Girls Club and find Mr. Mike, because he gives great information about college stuff.
Well, there you have it. I hope you have a little glimpse into the world of these inner city youth and kind of the work that we still have ahead of us with them. I'm inspired by what I see. I'm inspired by being in the trenches and inspired by what's to come. So thank you for taking the time out to check this out. I hope you learned anything. If you want to know more about the organization, don't hesitate to check us out online. Reach out to 4Ts via email, phone call, things of that nature. And I'm going to be sharing some more of these little short, informal/formal interviews with the youth that I mentor to give you more insight and more of a little glimpse into where their head is at and the hope that we have in the future for these youth. I'm inspired, and I know you will be too. Stay tuned.